Let's be real. When you hear the words 80-year-old industrial giant, you probably picture something a little slow, maybe a bit stuck in its ways. But what's happening with Tata Motors is something else entirely. This isn't just about making cars anymore. No, this is about a legacy institution making a huge, calculated bet on the next 100 years of mobility. Okay, let's get into it. And that bet really kicks off right here with these words from the chairman, N. Chandrasekaran. So what's the big idea? To get faster, sharper, and way more focused, Tata Motors is doing something pretty radical. They're splitting the entire company in two. This one move is the engine driving their entire future. Let's unpack what that really means. So what is this split exactly? Well, the one massive company we know as Tata Motors is becoming two completely separate publicly traded companies. You'll have one that's all in on commercial vehicles. We're talking trucks, buses, the whole logistics backbone. And the other, it's going to be laser focused on passenger vehicles, the SUVs, the EVs, the cars you and I would drive. It is a fundamental rewiring of the company's DNA. To really wrap your head around just how big this move is, you have to look at the money. This number, that's Tata's record-breaking revenue from last year. This incredible financial muscle is exactly what's letting them make such a bold play. It's what allowed the group to become completely debt-free, giving them the cash and the confidence to engineer this new future. So that brings us to our first section. Why split up? Well, it's because they believe the roads for these two businesses are heading in very different directions. So they're creating two distinct titans, each with its own mission, its own market, and its own unique path to win. And this split basically creates two totally different personalities. On one side, you have the commercial vehicles business. Think of it as the established powerhouse. Its whole mantra is better always, focused on the heavy-duty industrial stuff like the Prima and Intra trucks. Then you have the agile innovator, the passenger vehicles business. Its whole goal is creating differentiated mobility experiences for people, driven by cool tech-heavy SUVs and EVs like the Punch and the Nexon. Two totally different playbooks for two very different games. Now, that commercial vehicle business, it is the financial engine room. This number represents its all-time high earnings before interest and taxes. Basically, it's pure profit. This is the profitable, reliable workhorse that gives the entire group a rock-solid foundation. But if the commercial side is about pure profit, the passenger side is all about sheer scale. We're talking more than 500,000 cars sold in a single year. This isn't just about making money on each car. It's about market dominance, about brand recognition, about winning over millions of drivers. Okay, moving on to our second section. Let's talk about the one massive theme that connects both of these new titans, the absolute all-in gamble on electrification. And let me be clear, this isn't just a side project for Tata, it is the absolute core of their future strategy. So how are they powering this future? With a really smart multi-powertrain strategy. You can see here, while petrol still makes up about half the portfolio, the alternatives are surging. CNG and electric vehicles now make up a combined 36% of sales. The key thing to see here is that Tata isn't just sitting around waiting for an EV future to happen, they're actively building the bridge to get there. And in the Indian EV world, they are already the undisputed leader. They've got the widest portfolio of cars. And get this, their EVs have driven over 5 billion kilometers on real Indian roads. You just can't buy that kind of experience. They're also pushing the tech forward with their new Acti EV platform, which is already hitting ranges over 500 kilometers, and paving the way for awesome future models like the Sierra and Harrier EVs. And this electric ambition goes all the way to the top, to the absolute pinnacle of luxury. Their Jaguar Land Rover division is going through a massive change. Jaguar itself is being reborn as an all-electric brand, and the demand is already off the charts. The new all-electric Range Rover has a waiting list almost 60,000 people long. This just proves their EV strategy covers everything from the mainstream to the ultra-luxury. In our third section, let's look under the hood a bit at the technologies that are really making all this possible. This isn't just about new engines. It's about making every single part of the business smarter, greener, and faster, using AI, digitalization, and a serious commitment to sustainability. AI is being woven into the very fabric of their operations. For their commercial customers, that means predicting when a truck needs maintenance before it breaks down. Inside their factories, it means over 1,500 AI-powered cameras are making things safer for workers. Their digital marketplace, Fleetverse, is connecting almost 500,000 users. They are building a truly connected system from the assembly line all the way to the driver.
So, what's the philosophy behind their whole green strategy? It's called Project Alingana. Now, this isn't just some catchy name, it's the Tata Group's master plan for sustainability. Think of it as their North Star, guiding every single decision they make about their impact on the planet.
And this grand vision is actually broken down into three simple core ideas. First, driving to net zero emissions. Second, pioneering a circular economy, which is a fancy way of saying turning waste into a resource. And third, actively preserving nature and biodiversity. It's a simple, powerful, and actionable game plan. And if you want to see that second pillar in action, look no further than the Re-Why-Re initiative. This is an incredible facility that does exactly what it says. It recycles vehicles with respect. They can take any old vehicle from any car brand and responsibly break it down, making sure that what was once junk becomes a valuable resource for the future. This is the circular economy made real. And they are making real, measurable progress. Check this out. In their commercial vehicle operations, the really heavy-duty part of the business, a whopping 45% of all the power they use now comes from renewable sources. That is a huge step towards their goal of hitting 100% by 2030. Okay, for our final section, let's zoom back out. This whole transformation is incredibly ambitious, but it is not going to be an easy ride. And Tata is being very clear about the risks and the seriously high stakes involved in this split.
And Tata is shockingly transparent about the risks. Geopolitical chaos could throw a wrench in their global plans. The competition in the EV space is absolutely brutal, so you can't afford to fall behind. The entire strategy really hinges on people continuing to adopt EVs. And of course, the global supply chain is always a potential weak link. This is the tightrope they have to walk.
So why does all this matter? What should you take away? It's that what we're watching here is so much more than a corporate restructuring. It's a real-time blueprint for how a massive legacy industrial company can try to pivot to become faster, leaner, and smarter, all in a bid to not just survive, but to dominate the next era of mobility. And that leaves us with the ultimate question. Tata Motors has split its army in two to conquer the future. So will this radical strategy create two agile, focused champions, each dominating their own field? Or will it just stretch this giant too thin, leaving it fighting a difficult war on two separate fronts? The race is on, and only time will tell.